The zone is an unforgiving place that will chew up and spit out inexperienced and under-equipped stalkers in a flash. There's no substitute for experience, unfortunately, but at the very least, we can help you with being better equipped right at the start of the game. Here are 10 things to do first in Stalker 2.
Yeah. And I think this kind of outlines the problem. Let's talk about this a little bit more in detail. 10 things to do first in Stalker 2. Honestly, I don't think there's a better way of summarizing a problem in 5 words or less. These videos that are telling you the first things you need to do in a brand new game that literally has dropped to give you the best start. This is most commonly known as FOMO, or fear of missing out. Imagine that, you're being a brand new player who never played the Stalker franchise, which I'm not surprised of. This game came out, well, the original Stalker came out around 2007, with additional part being released in 2009, and well, now we're finally in 2024 and we finally have Stalker 2. And imagine that you're new to the franchise, you never played Stalker. Imagine how these people are literally just knocking on your conscience that you might be missing out. And this is such a psychological warfare tactic, I would want to say, because in a world where we are literally spoon-fed subscription services, subscription game passes, cosmetics, weapon skin, guns, loot boxes, chests, regular editions, digital deluxe and collector editions, no physical copies, everything is pretty much cloud-based. I mean, you have to pay top dollar for getting a physical copy of the game with some map or some other things, which now is only reserved for collectors editions, obviously. And for regular people, they say like, oh, you're not gonna have a good time if you don't do these 5 things. It's gonna make your experience better. Imagine that you actually have all these variations, all of this world, 60 square kilometers of this world, and you're afraid that you're gonna miss out on some obscure gun you didn't even know exists. You don't even know what it does. But apparently you're not gonna have a good time if you don't have this gun from the start. I can just imagine how people are being brainwashed. And the reason I think this is brainwashing 101 is very simple. This particular title, Stalker 2, is 6 days old, so to say. It's been out for 6 days and it's exclusively a single player experience.
I have no time for idle chat with you.
And what we have is the experience, I wouldn't want to call it of a lifetime, but experience where you can just do whatever you want in any other way you want, and you're still gonna end up to the end game. To an extent, it might just take you either longer or shorter time. But the thing is, the whole point of Stalker was for people to enjoy the actual game, enjoy the scenery, understand that you're in radioactive area, you have nothing to your name and you need to find answers. How you approach every situation, every combat scenario is entirely up to yourself. If you chose a dialogue option, there will be consequences. And once you understand that an open world games with an open dialogue options and certain RNG elements in the gear drops and loot stash locations, my question is, what exactly are we afraid of as the gamers? Since when did we allow someone else to tell us how to play the game? I remember back in the day when people had game walkthroughs or tips and tricks posted on the forums, literally on HTML or old version PHP. Nothing on that website, it was hosted on God knows what. And usually it was mostly used for what's the door code, or how do I get this particular quest to start or trigger it. Now we just have full walkthroughs from start to finish, and the game hasn't even been out for a week yet. I highly doubt that this is normal and expected in regular gaming communities, that you can just buy the game, never play it, watch someone play through the whole game and then just sigh in relief. Oh yeah, it's almost like I played it myself. I already have it. Oh yeah, the only thing that's missing is the achievements, right? And achievement hunting, 100% achievement hunting videos, been a thing for years now, actually. And when you do all these platinum trophies and stuff like this and you finally get them using the guide, I wonder, does it feel good? Like, does it take the box that you finished the game with the platinum, or did you finish it because someone actually told you how to do it because you couldn't do it yourself? You were not dedicated enough, you didn't have time. I'm not saying everyone now should become a neckbeard and live in a basement and just play games 24/7, proving how good of a gamer they are, but I think we need to draw a line a little bit. Like, when the games are actually meant for single player experience, like Stalker 2, you need to understand that you're a guest in this world. You need to understand how stuff works, how the map works, because you're going to be looking at this map and trying to figure out what you do. And in all honesty, in comparison to the previous Stalkers, I downloaded the Chernobyl one. This is so much more easier to play. Like, it's much more informative in regards what you're doing, where you're going, and what you should be doing next. The random encounters are still there. The game looks pretty good in its current state. We are getting performance patches and fixes, and you can just immerse yourself for hours on end. There's no time limit. There's not a single clock ticking. Your session is not gonna expire. The servers are not gonna kick you out of the queue. If you want, you can literally just stand here and watch the weather change in front of your eyes. If you want, you can watch the day-night cycle. You can witness the emission starting. You can try to figure out what to do in that case. But no, someone needs to tell you, oh, you're about to have a really bad day because you're missing out on some obscure gear or some obscure gun you didn't even know exists, and you don't know it for two reasons. A, you never bothered to check. B, you never knew it existed because you never played the game before, or particularly this game before. So are those videos actually helping? And the reason I'm kinda, and I guess this is just boomer in me talking, I spent insane amount of time playing Ghost Recon Wildlands. And after I made a couple videos in regards tips and tricks for tier 1 ghost mode because no one was doing them, and some other things, I looked at some of these tips and tricks videos back in the day, and I disagreed with at least 2/3 of them. 2/3 of them were one of those, the best gun in Wildlands is this gun and this gun only. And I disagree with it because that gun will definitely not fit majority of the people's playstyles, and you know, if you're not going with certain expectations what you want to get from this game or this gun, it's actually gonna hinder your progression really, because it's not the way you're gonna use the gun for. And better or worse, that also is a little bit odd thing to say, because in general that should be your experience, how you're gonna approach every situation by yourself. So I don't know if people have forgotten it, but we're literally just playing the games as other people are now telling us. We don't even launch the game anymore. You bought the game, you launched it, and you go like, okay, let me just watch a very quick walkthrough video of what I'm missing out. I mean, you haven't even played the game yet. You don't even know what you're missing out, but this somehow brainwashing is just pushing you into believing that you are missing out on something. No idea what it is, but I'm afraid I'm gonna miss it. Like, that is a terrible state of mind to be when it comes to single player experience. What if I'm not supposed to be here? Maybe I'm wasting my time. Imagine that you go into survival horror game, which makes you manage your resources, find ammo, repair your guns, find your objectives, fight mutants, have relations with the different factions, choose your dialogue options, and you're coming in such a world afraid that you're wasting your time. Then why did you buy the game in the first place? You know, I'm not trying to kind of kink shame you, so to say, but I mean, just be honest to yourself, because you can lie to everyone around you, but don't lie to yourself. If you think that you're wasting time by taking a step off from a beaten path, maybe and perhaps this game is simply not for you. And this doesn't only apply to Stalker, really. This applies for a lot of games out there nowadays, because if you can have a time saver pack so you don't grind through years and years of cosmetic progression, then obviously there will be a market for things like this as well. But is that something we really should embrace as the new norm? Just a food for thought, I guess, because all of this, I could easily not come here. I mean, there's literally nothing to see here. Outside of the storm, the lightning, the swamp. I have a mission somewhere there, so I might as well just use this to actually have a look around, but everything else is just, you know, that's entirely up to yourself. But I'm not gonna look up a guide. I mean, nothing wrong with looking up a guide if you're stuck. But don't get yourself into the mindset that every time you take a step right or left, you feel unsure where you're going and you need to check a guide. Don't be dependent on the guides. Give it a go yourself, play it a bit yourself, and don't listen to someone's advice that these are the 5 things you definitely need to do before you actually go somewhere. Because the whole point of understanding the game and becoming good at the game is actually playing the game. And unfortunately, actually playing the game, unless it's your older brother or sister or younger brother or sister telling you what you're doing wrong, it will have to be your responsibility and your own experience how you move forward. But yeah, 10 things to start Stalker 2. My word. Anyway, that's all I have for you guys today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Over now.